Yeah, go for it. Whoa! Well, it's another beautiful day in Saskatchewan, and this raging pile of trash is still sitting on my lawn, right where I dumped it about a week ago. And normally that'd be fine, but I've been getting all kinds of strange looks from passersby, and I can only assume that's out of extreme jealousy. Understandable. But it is kind of parked partially on city property, and I don't really want to push my luck because I'm already on a first name basis with the bylaw guy. So we gotta at least get this thing moved back a little bit, which is easier said than done. I got the brakes freed up. Look at that. Terrible. So to begin our archaeological journey, I'm using this handy dandy shovel featuring an olive drab handle for stealth scooping. It's also extendable for doing sedans and other large bodied vehicles. Should mention that it's extremely important to do all of your scooping laterally or against the grain. The reasons for this will become clear later on in the video. Once you finish scooping, you can then move on to sucking away any of the remaining particles. Extreme care should be taken at this stage to avoid disturbing the natural habitat of the bacteria and spiders present within the vehicle. So after careful inspection, we determined that the engine that was in the truck was no longer usable, and the cab on it was also rusted beyond repair. So we needed to find a donor truck for an engine and cab and all the other ruined pieces. My mom sent me pictures of this truck, which was on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm not on Facebook, so got in touch with the owner, and this thing followed me home. It's so great to have family that enables your hoarding. But anyways, I haven't even looked at this thing yet. That's an interesting old repair. I would rate this fender as poor, so not sure it needs to be saved. Well, so it needs cab corners, of course, and that's not looking too good. Need a little patch there. I don't know if I'm saving this cab yet or not. I think probably fix this cab up. And floor, I mean it's there, but at least this part for sure is gonna have to be replaced. It's looking pretty thin, especially through here. And of course, all of these trucks all rust out in here. Garbage. But look at that, you got a battery. And oh, okay. That's oh, I look at that as there's less bolts to take out. What do we got going on in here? Oh yeah, that is all pretty terrible, but not surprising on one of these trucks. Another little ding back here in the cab corner. Got on the inside of the door here. Oh, great. As you can see, we got a little bit of more than the factory tolerance there for door pillar movement. So that's got to be, yeah, this is all pretty bad up in here. And you can see here where the floor itself is actually collapsed. There's a brace under here. How come you guys didn't remind me to disconnect the choke cable? Come on. Do you know they make a Sawzall blade specifically for exactly what we're doing here? Wish I would have known about these earlier. Could have saved myself a fortune on wrenches and things over the years. All you really need is this. Look at that. Even tells you where you can cut. That's basically what we're doing. We're cutting away the front and the back, just keeping the center. Very good. Let's get to it. Some of you may have guessed by now that this 261 is not going back in that. So let's better look at the damage there. So I'm going to tack weld in the lower post, and as I'm tack welding it, I'm going to constantly be checking and rechecking the measurements, and also that the pillar is straight up and down. Basically every tack I make, I'll constantly recheck it, and I want to get a tack weld in all the major corners or points on it. Once it's all tack welded in at those points, then it can't really go anywhere, and then it'll be ready for final welding. So now that I have my edge ready for a butt weld, I'm going to lock in my door gap by placing a tack weld on the top and the bottom edge of the cab corner. And the rest of it right now is just overlapping the old cab corner, or what's left of it. Now I'm going to take my zip wheel and I'm going to cut through the bottom layer of the old cab corner. This is going to allow the new cab corner to relax into place, and I'm just going to work it a little at a time and push it into place. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to align it all for a butt weld. So I push it into place, make sure both panels on the joint are flush, and then I place a tack weld about every inch or so, and that's just going to hold it into place. It helps to do this a little at a time and not just cut the whole thing at once. For a tighter gap, you can also use a reciprocating saw, and works a little nicer, a little more accurate, but the zip wheel of death makes a lot of sparks, and it's a lot more spectacular for YouTube. And this is just meatball surgery. We're not going for perfection here, so it works just fine. If you're new here, I already have videos of doing the passenger side, several videos showing everything in great detail, and you can check those out on the 1948 GMC playlist on my channel. So if you have any questions on what I'm doing or how I'm doing it, please go watch those videos, because I explain everything in that, and it's not really a good use of your time or my time for me to just explain things that have already been done. This side was rustier than the passenger side. However, by the time you're done cutting, you end up replacing the same amount of metal as I did on the other side. So, the only benefit to this side was it actually went faster because I had less to cut out because it was so rusty. So that's kind of how that worked. And here I am doing the inner cowl panel, which went in reasonably well. Now I'm flattening out the factory lead seam on the outer cowl panel. The reason I do that is so that I can butt weld it and eliminate the need for that factory lead seam. There's no reason for that anymore. And now I'm going to test fit the door before I weld the outer cowl panel on. Well, I now have the outer cowl panel fit to the door the way that I want it, so I'm going to begin to weld it now. I'm going to put in a few of the plug welds, and then I'm going to begin butt welding the seam along where the lead seam used to be. And we're just using the old cut and butt technique there to splice it in. Pretty fast and simple and straightforward, and gets the job done. Nothing too scientific there. And once I get it tack welded about every inch, I'll begin final welding it. And by doing that, I'm basically doing 3 tacks at a time, 3 welds at a time, ½ inch at a time, whatever you want to do. And then immediately grinding it, and just going along like that, and keeps the seam relatively straight. And yeah, and we'll go ahead and finish all the plug welds, which there's a pretty decent amount of on these trucks in the cowl area. Now we'll start welding along the bottom and welding the outer cowl to the inner to outer cowl panel, as I believe it's called. We're just using plug welds to attach that, as we showed on the other side. I like to kind of clean the metal up before I start welding it, obviously, so we don't have any contamination. We've also got this massive dent on the back of the cab. Now I want to get the new cab corner welded on, so I start by getting the door jamb fit to the door. And then I slowly work my way along and kind of do the cut and butt technique again and tack it as I go. And I'm just continuously working things back and forth, trying to get the best possible fit as I can, because you want to get that now before you weld it, because if you don't fix that now and then you go to weld it, well, the welding is only going to make any fitment or alignment issues worse. You only get to see the last bit of welding across the back here, but again, same thing as we did to join the cowl panel. I've got a video on this already. I think it's like MIG welding. Is there a faster, easier way to MIG weld a panel or something like that? So you can watch that if you're interested. Well, now I'm just dismantling the GMC to prepare it for the new cab to get swapped on. And in order to do this, I basically got to tear the entire truck apart. And that's okay, because I just love rusty bolts and rusty garbage and taking stuff apart. So this is just a lot of fun here, and most of it's in time lapse, so that you don't have to experience the painfulness of it in real time. So you're welcome. So I'm sure a lot of you are probably still wondering why we're not using this cab. So we'll just kind of give you a quick tour here and see if you can figure it out for yourself. If not, then, well, I don't know what to tell you. And then along this lower edge here, I'll get that out. I'll just drop that. That was a disgusting amount of plug welding and grinding and messing around. I don't really want to ever do that again, but now we have the problem of trying to fit the glass in here. I really hope the glass fits. Alright, I'm gonna attempt to spruce up this dash a bit. Don't really want to paint it, but it is looking pretty scummy, so I don't know. We'll see if we can clean it up first, and then if that doesn't work, then we'll regroup and reevaluate. So I'll start by just cleaning it up and scrubbing it down. I had pretty low expectations at this point, but I figured it was worth a shot, as repainting the dash is a fair amount of work and doesn't really add a whole lot to it. Now at this point I forgot to hit record and lost a bit of the footage of cleaning it up, but then we kind of moved on to polishing it and doing some hitting it with some rubbing compound and what have you to try and shine it up a bit, and we were starting to notice that there was a bit of potential in this old dash yet, so we're glad we kind of went with this decision. Now we're reinstalling reconditioned gauge number 2, and kind of figured this might happen as things were going way too smoothly, so there's always got to be an issue somewhere. Now I'll put the speaker grill in and the trim pieces, and look, when you look at that, the whole dash is really starting to come together. We get this all smooth out there with some lead, so it's a little better transition there. Before it had quite a swoop to it, and then where we welded it, we just left that low, and then we filled over that with lead so that we weren't trying to, you know, overstress that area, which has already seen its share of stress throughout the years. And deal over here, we got this all lead out there. Warning! The next segment is painful to watch. Or at least more painful than usual. The idea here behind this project was not to create a flawless showpiece, but rather what I would call a blank slate for someone else to take to whatever level that they choose to. So all we really did was just made the body structurally sound, um, and then get it running so it at least can move itself around. Other than that, like the fenders, the hood, the box still has a bunch of old repairs and dings and imperfections, but we just wanted to get rid of all the large, massive, horrible damage that we could, and that's kind of the theory there. And then I just left the mechanicals as is. It all needs to be gone through, but I didn't want to go too crazy with any of that because there's a lot of people that like to do the hot rod thing or whatever and upgrade all that. So I start replacing brakes and all that stuff, and then the next thing you know, the next owner is just going to rip all that out, throw it away, and put in modern stuff. So I just left it as is. And for me, I think it would be pretty cool just to go through the mechanicals on it, get it on the road kind of as is, and just use it as for its intended purpose, which is a truck. I do like the fully restored trucks that are all flawless and everything. That's cool to look at. But what's even cooler is an old truck that's still being used as an old truck. And whether it's 70 years old or 10 years old, a truck can still be used as a truck. So that's really cool. And again, I don't have any control over what happens to it when it leaves here. This is just kind of a blank slate for someone to do with as they please. But this is the last time you're going to see this truck. It has been sold, and it's going to be, sounds like it's going to a great new home. The gentleman who purchased it has been looking for one of these old trucks for quite some time. So it sounds like it stands a good chance of actually going back together. If I was to keep it, it would never get finished or anything beyond what it is now. And I would have just used it for pushing junk vehicles around the yard, and I never would have done anything more with it. So the best case scenario is it goes on to someone who actually wants it and is going to hopefully enjoy it. And for those of you who want to know what it's sold for, that's between myself and the new owner. It's if you want to know what these trucks are worth, you can go on Google, you can check out Hemmings, your local classifieds, Craigslist, Marketplace, wherever, and you can do your own research there. This is not a car flipping channel. This is a car fixing channel. I just happen to sell these things when I'm done doing my part on them. Now, I'm sure you're wondering what we were actually able to save from the original truck, and actually quite a bit. The only things we didn't save was the cab, doors, bed, and the engine, this running board, and half of the other running board. Actually, the cowl vent and the corner windows, not the glass obviously, but the metal around them was all actually harvested from the original cab. Now, upon some investigation, the box, doors, and engine that were actually in that truck were not original to the truck to begin with. So there wasn't a whole lot of original truck there even to start with, but we were able to save the tailgate. I believe that is the original tailgate to the truck. The box had been changed out at some point, and I had this box, which is not perfect, but it's considerably better than what was on the truck, and I believe it is still fairly workable. In Canada here, to buy a complete box is like $5,000 Canadian, so you can do a fair amount of work to get this box back into shape for that kind of price. So it just made sense to swap it out, and the fact that the box that was on the truck wasn't original to it anyways made sense. And the truck did have the wrong doors on it. It had the layer style doors with the vent window, so we swapped it out for the correct doors. And yeah, we basically saved as much as we could. So I just wanted to give a few shout outs and thank yous before we leave here. Biggest shout out and thank you goes to Scott and Colin for actually rescuing this truck, digging it out of the bush and setting it aside until I was able to come pick it up. This truck was literally going to the scrapper if they hadn't rescued it. The land that it was sitting on was getting cleared out. And if you want to see the recovery videos on this truck, I'm going to put a link in the description to Scott's channel here on YouTube. It's called Cold War Motors, and I highly recommend you check it out. Not just for the recovery videos, but he has a lot of interesting projects, and I know a lot of you have wanted to see, nice, shiny bodywork and full restorations and stuff like that. Well, if you want to see that, go check out Scott's Cold War Motors channel, particularly the 1960 Fury project. That car there that he did makes what I did on this truck look like child's play. So please check out Cold War Motors, and thank you again to Scott and Colin for rescuing this truck for me. Ever since I was a young boy growing up in the big city, I've had a dream of buying a 1948 GMC and then flipping it at a huge loss. So Scott and Colin were able to make that dream come true. So again, thank you to them. And while we're saying thank yous, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to all of you, because you folks watching my videos, sitting through the ads, and commenting, liking, sharing, all of that has really made this project actually possible. It's helped grow the channel. It's helped me take this truck further than I had originally anticipated taking it. None of that would have been possible without you folks actually sitting down and sitting through my videos. I know they're painful to watch, but I sure do appreciate it, and I think the truck also appreciates it. If you told me a year ago that we would be doing something this ambitious on the channel, or even just me fixing it in my garage, there's no way I would have thought that would be possible. But it worked out okay. Well, I mean, from a distance it looks okay. If you actually crunched all the numbers, I think I basically made minimum wage on the whole deal between making the videos and actually working on the truck. But that's okay, because I'd be just welding up rusty junk anyways, so I figured, I might as well film it, and some of you seem to enjoy it, so that's cool. And the other major contributor to actually bringing these videos to you is the people doing the super thanks and the super chats, and of course our monthly contributors on Patreon. Those folks have really been the only reason that I've continued doing videos on a somewhat regular basis. Their donations are what actually enables me to set aside time to film and edit and upload and whatever, do all of these videos. A lot of the bigger YouTubers will tell you that 1 minute of footage equals 1 hour of work, and I didn't really believe that at first, but once I started doing it, I realized that it seems like you just set up the camera and point it and film it, and then there's magically a video there, but it really is accurate that 1 minute of footage is 1 hour work, and that's between doing the work, setting up the camera, filming, editing, uploading, replying to comments, and just everything that goes along with it. Once you really stand back and look at it, there's a ton of work there. So the fact that our patrons recognize that and want to contribute to me continuing with this is just really fantastic. So if you like these videos, please thank our patrons and folks doing the super chats, because that's really what's keeping the show on the air at this point. As far as what's coming up in the future, well, you'll just have to stay tuned and see. We have no shortage of rust and dents to take care of here, and maybe some vehicular modifications or restyling are in our future as well. But again, stay tuned, and thank you so much to everyone for following along on this GMC series, and I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I haven't.